Anyway, and he taught older students, and I was an older student, and he usually taught sports literature. Well, he knew a lot about sports.
Sports literature.
Yeah.
Sport have literature. We didn't know that.
Yeah, there's lots of stories about sports and movies, and he knew
Amazing.
many sports people too. So he had connections also.
Wow.
But anyway, the first class, he said, okay, I want the very first class. He says, I want everybody to stand up and then, introduce yourself, say something, and then you can ask questions. So, guess who he chose as the first person? Yes. He says, okay, you, stand up. So I stood up and said, my name's Gary. I'm from Illinois. Thank you. I sat down. That's it. He goes, stand up again. He says, can you tell me a little bit more about yourself? And then he started asking me questions. So then he said, why are you here? I said, why am I here? I said, because I have to be here, because if I want to graduate, this class is required, to graduate. We have to take this class. I said, why do I have to take it? I said, I can read and write English. I can speak it. I said, once I get out of this school, I will never, ever, ever use English again. I told him that directly. Then he said, ask me a question. I said, what are you doing here? He asked me, so I thought I'd ask him. What are you doing here?
This you say?
Yeah, to the teacher. Well, he asked me, so I asked him. He says, do you have any questions for me? I said, yeah, what are you doing here?
Then what do you
He
say?
said, well, I like teaching English and blah, blah, blah. And finally he said, okay, sit down and shut up for 1 week. Fine. So the next class, he tried to call on me. He said, Gary, I said, I wouldn't speak because he told me. Anyway, the strange thing was later, because some of us older students, hung out in the cafeteria, the coffee shops. It was like, we had like our own place. We made our, the older students, it seems like, always sit here. So we became like, good friends. And Doc, he would always come and have coffee with us. And I thought, you're that teacher that I hate. He says, yes, I am. We're sitting here looking at each other having coffee. It's like,
Really?
da, 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 da. But later, we started talking to each other, talking, and later we became friends. And then later I ended up taking one of his sports literature classes, a writing class. And then he started buying me coffee, and even now, if I go home, if I see him, he's pretty old now, but he still buys some coffee in America. And then, so remember that, I fought with my English teachers, said I hate English, and once I graduate, I will never use English again. And then I also was very kind of proud, saying 4 years of university, and I never used the library. Just a little. Just a little. I did some little research, but usually I got my own books. I said, who needs a library? I'm kind of proud, Said, I hate the libraries. You don't need the library.
You don't like reading?
I like reading, but I just didn't like the library. And then one Friday afternoon, I remember, I didn't have to work, and I didn't have no class on Friday afternoon. So I was at home, kind of bored. So I'll just walk downtown. Something to do. Just walk downtown and walk around and look at the shopping mall. And I was walking downtown. I went past the public library. And my one friend, he was just so crazy about the library. He says, oh, you can get so many books, because he liked to read. Many books and DVDs. And,
DVD?
In America, you can get movies from the library. And he's just like, library, so happy with the library. So as I'm passing by, I thought, I got the time. Okay, I'll just go in and see what's so special about the library, Well, as I was walking around, and in the corner of the library, way in the corner, on a bottom shelf, I found a book. How I found it, I don't know. It said, work, study, and travel overseas.
So you pick up.
So I just picked it up. And I thought, okay, it looks because I was into Taiwan already at Dongwu. I thought, okay, I'll just look for Taiwan, see if Taiwan is in here. Well, Taiwan was in there, and there was a job, about teaching in Taiwan. And the address was like the next, like a 6-hour drive away. So I thought, okay, I'll write away for the information. I got an application, and they said, okay, you want to come for an interview? So I drove, and they put me up at the hotel. Like in 5 minutes, I had the interview about teaching English. About 5 minutes, the lady said, you want the job? It's yours. 5 minutes. You want the job? It's yours. So I said, okay. But then we talk and talk. So here they're sending me to Taiwan. And then I went back to school and talked to some teachers. And I saw a doc. He says, Gary, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to Taiwan. He said, what are you going to do in Taiwan? I said, teach English.
You don't like English.
I said, teach English. He said, can you remember what you told me 4 years ago? I'm a little old now. I can't really remember. Do you remember what you told me in that class 4 years ago? Something about English and graduation? Yes, I said, once I graduate, I will never, ever, and I stressed it. I said, ever use English again. He says, what are you going to do in Taiwan? Teach English. He says, I'm old. Can you say it a little bit louder? Teach English. It's like, he made me say it. So, complaining, in class, challenging my teachers, telling him I hate English, and being proud of saying, you don't need libraries. What do you need a library for? But actually, it was because of the public library. I found that book. And I found that book in the library.
And you said you don't?
And I said I hated libraries. But I found that book in the library, coming back to Taiwan to teach English. And I said before, I will never use English again. So the things that I said, again, just like when I said, oh, Taidong, that's my city. Guess what? When they sent me back to Taiwan, that's where I went. And I was coming back to Taiwan to teach English.
That's your first place to teach English?
Yeah. So when you say never. Like I said, I will never, because I hated English. My English was so poor, I had to take a class just to get in first year English. And I told my teachers, I hated English. And now I'm here. What am I doing? Teaching English. And using the library.
No?
Well, I use the library once in a while. And I teach in the library. But,
Why you come to China? 那时候
哦，这个我知道。
come in.